In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Konnichiwa, bitches. Welcome to an episode of the Genius Brain Podcast.
Hello.
We have an old reoccurring guest from back in the day, from the original Genius Brain, the one that was in my condo. We have Edric, also known as Ed2.
It's been a minute.
I know, dude. I haven't seen this dude in like 5 months. This motherfucker going through a world of depression.
Yeah. I've been locked up in a cave, so I'm back out now, ready to embrace the world again.
You went back out during the worst time, dude. You can't even go. There's nowhere to go
ready.
back.
Wait, I can't even go out,
During COVID and everything, man.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
It's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. I mean, like most people, just been at home, trying to find things to do because it's like, where else can I go? What else can I do?
Dog, I've never seen so many of my friends from back in the day.
Yeah.
They've been showing these random what they call hidden talents, which aren't hidden talents because they're not talents.
Right.
And they should have stayed hidden for the longest time. How many of my friends are suddenly rappers? Blow my fucking mind.
Right.
Like, hey, I've been working on this project for a hot minute. I'm like, the fuck, sit your ass. Where the fuck did you come from, dude?
Yeah.
They're like doing these shitty ass fucking rhymes. I'm like, bro, like you never rap. What do you mean like this new hot album that you're dropping out of nowhere? COVID making people go crazy, dude.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like they're taking the moment or the situation to kind of like better themselves and work on something that's been long neglected because they got the extra time now. For me, I just kind of took it as a time to hit my video game backlog. Like I
love people on it.
Yeah.
Do you know how much a fucking Nintendo Switch is right now?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, bro.
The full console is like $600 now.
Yeah, because it's selling out. Because Animal Crossing, everybody and their mama's on Animal Crossing.
Dude, that shit was $300 prior COVID.
Yeah.
And then I was looking it up for $600. I was looking it up to buy it for my brother for his birthday. It just passed. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, John.
But then I saw it $600 and I texted that fool. I was like, hey, I'll get you next time. I was like, I'll get you next time, bro. I was like,
it comes around once a year, right? So we got another opportunity.
I was like, I love you, dude, but you ain't $600. I love you though.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Animal Crossing phenomenon is like ridiculous right now.
Have you been playing that shit?
No, I mean, my girl has it though. So I did create my character through her account, but then she's like, "You're not even playing. I want you off my." So she wanted me to delete my character so she could have more real estate.
Nintendo is so smart because they develop games that everybody can play.
Right.
It's not just for the gamer. It's not for the fucking Dungeons and Dragon geeks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's your mom, your dad, the kid, the 20-year-old, the businessman can all play it.
For sure.
Animal Crossing kills it, dude.
No, for sure. And the thing is, it's like when you look at kind of like the art direction and the aesthetics of the game, it might look childish, but then the gameplay mechanics, right? That's where it really kicks in for all age groups. Like when you just look at it, you're like, that looks like it's suited for, little kids, elementary kids, junior high kids, whatever. You start playing it, you're like, yo, this shit's actually pretty fun.
They hit the best time because of COVID and the social distancing thing.
Yeah.
They're socializing through a digital world.
Yeah.
And they're doing all the stuff that they typically probably could do if they were outside.
Right.
Maybe not fish for fucking great white sharks, fucking hammerheads.
Yeah.
But they're able to socialize with their friends through the game. They're visiting each other's islands.
Right.
That game blew the fuck up. There are certain industries during COVID that are killing it.
Yeah.
Number one, PS, fuck you, Bowflex. Bowflex, their dumbbell went from $200 to about $500 to $600.
Holy shit, are you serious?
Yeah, they're gouging people right now.
Wow.
I can't wait till COVID's gone. I'm gonna fucking destroy your company, you sons of bitches.
Unless you want to short your stock, Bowflex.
I know. Unless you want to sponsor me and send me one, dude. Yeah. We're on bad terms, dude. I try to get a fucking Bowflex dumbbell. Yeah. And you guys are the reasons why I can't have muscles, man.
Yeah. No, I mean it's crazy. Like the kind of behavior that this pandemic has kind of cultivated. It's wild, man. It's wild. Like when it first started breaking out and the whole thing was toilet paper's running out. Mm-hmm. I was just kind of like, I didn't understand that. I was like, all right, if we have stay at home, or because at the time stay at home orders hadn't kicked in yet. Yeah. And so I'm like, if we're kind of getting to the point where people are gonna have to stay at home, you're gonna fucking have running water still. Yeah. I mean, worst 100%. Comes to worst, just fucking wash your. I know it's an inconvenience, people, but you don't have to hoard toilet paper. Like, it was blowing my mind, you know?
Everybody's doing the most Asian shit right now. They don't even know. People used to fucking wonder why we have bidets. They're like, why would you have a bidet? Why do you want fucking water splashed up your butthole? Exactly. And now you can't get a bidet anywhere. You can't get a bidet fucking anywhere. You fucking bitches, dude. You used to clown on us about the mask, and now I see you with masks everywhere, looking for designer masks and shit.
Exactly.
You see a fucking Louis Vuitton had like a Louis Vuitton mask and shit?
I mean, it was just a matter of time. I was once the masks started selling out, I knew for damn sure, like, all right, it's going to get to the point where we're going to have designer masks come out. They're going to charge an arm and a leg. And it's not even going to be a protective mask. It's just going to be a piece of cloth.
That's all that it is.
Yeah.
I was telling people about this too, where when the whole COVID thing happened, and it was about 2 months in.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on a podcast with my buddy from Sacramento. But I had probably 3 instances where people treated me like shit just based on the fact that I was Asian. You know, that's never ever happened to me before. So no, I mean, the one time somebody called me a chink was this one black girl in my high school, but then she got fucking suspended for that shit. Like we had like a zero tolerance shit for racism in our school. Right. But I don't know what she was going through, but that shit was hurtful. I didn't know what the fuck she was calling me. She was like, you fucking, she was like, you fucking, she called me a gook and a chink. And I was like, what the fuck's a gook? I didn't know what a gook was.
Yeah. I learned what a gook was for the first time being called that too.
Yeah.
Never heard that before.
What the fuck? Like, how do you know what soup is called in Korean, dude? She called me a gook. But we, when I, South Pasadena is super nice. You know, the original condo that I used to live in, where we did the original GeniusBrain. Yeah. Like Kay and I, we do like fucking 8-mile walks a day. Like that's just what we do. And so we're walking around, and then we noticed. So there's this joint called La Monarca. La Monarca is a Mexican like coffee shop, right? Okay. They have like conchas, they have like tres leches cakes and all sort of stuff.
Oh, tres leches cakes.
Hella good, dude. And so we walk in there, and when we were walking in, we kind of noticed this lady with a fat ass, and she had a kid or whatever, right? That was partially the reason why we're walking in there. And so we go in, and you notice this lady, she's kind of dressed up very oddly. She has a visor on and everything else like that. And this lady with the fat ass and the kid kind of gets a little close to the lady because he's looking at some of the cookies that are displayed. Yeah. And then she freaks out at the kid, and she goes, "Ma'am, you need to control your child and have him step away from me. You know, you need to have social distancing etiquette," like yelling at the lady. And the lady was very calm about it. She goes, "Okay, fine." Yeah. Well, she goes, "I'm sorry." And then she takes the kid over, and then she looks at some cookies. Yeah. And so, she also mentioned that you need to be mindful of the labeling on the floor for the 6 feet apart stuff. Distance. Number one, this is when the social distancing just happened. I didn't even notice those things on the floor. Right. And before they weren't there the day before, because I was literally in the store yesterday. Yeah. So she gets her cookies, and she looks back, and the lady's waiting in line, and she looks at her and she goes, "Hey, do you want me to go around you, or do you want me to wait for you to go first?" And she goes, "Ma'am, you need to back away from me." And she's yelling at her again. Right? And so, this seemingly white lady is yelling at this lady, and she has like a baby carriage and a stroller and everything. I'm like, okay, she's being protective of her child or whatever. And then she just keeps going off on her. She goes, "I'm a COVID nurse, and I'm dealing with this stuff, and you need to back away from me." And so at this point, this lady's getting mad, and she claps back at her. She goes, "That's funny, because I'm a nurse too." I'm like, oh shit, nurse on nurse action.
Oh shit.
No, nurse on nurse action.
World star.
And they start yelling at each other. Me and Kay are like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" And so at that point, when they were yelling at each other, it eventually kind of simmered down. And the lady who was yelling at the lady with the fat ass and the kid, she has to say one more word, and she goes, "You're acting like such a bitch," in front of her kid. Wow. And then Kay comes in, he goes, "Hey, hey, hey, hey." He's like, "Hey," he's like,
"Kids."
He's like, "There's a kid right here. You can't be calling this lady a B word in front of her kid." Yeah. And I stepped in. I was like, "Yeah, you fucking bitch." No, I'm kidding.
And she said, "Shut up, you chinker."
Yeah. I was like, "Yo, you can't be cursing in front of this fucking kid, you fucking cunt." No, but after she does that, she goes, "I didn't call her a bitch. I called her a witch." And I'm like, "No, you didn't."
Oh, wow. She had the audacity to switch it up like that.
Like, "No, you didn't, bitch." You called her a bitch in front of her kid. Yeah. And so after that kind of simmers down, and then the manager's telling everybody to calm down, my order gets called up. I go up, and I went to go grab my coffee. And then when I went to go grab my coffee, I was like, "I got to say something too." And I was like, "You're kind of out of line. You shouldn't be cursing at this lady in front of her kid. It was really disrespectful." Right. And she goes, "You need to mind your fucking business." And I was like, "Oh," and then Craig looks at me, he goes, "Oh shit." But prior to this day before, I already yelled at another bitch for another incident. So I kind of already let my steam out. So this one, I just looked at her, I was like, "I don't got to shut the fuck up. You gonna do something about it?" Yeah. Right? What are you gonna do? Yeah. And so as she's doing that, she goes, "You know what? It's like, this problem here is because of you people."
Oh,
and
shit.
And then I was like, "Oh shit, she called me you people. That was my first you people."
Oh,
I was like,
man.
damn, dude. And then before I could even say anything, the manager steps in and she goes, excuse me, ma'am, you people, that is racist, right? And she goes, I am not being racist. I said, you people as in people who don't social distance. She goes, we know what you mean. And in my mind, I was like, she could have meant that, but I did not take it that way.
Right,
so I was like, you people, I fucking milked that shit. And so as that whole situation's happening, this is the funniest part. The lady, the white lady, looks at the manager, who's also a white lady, or so I thought, and she goes, I can't be racist. She goes, because I'm Mexican. And she goes, my name is something, something, Esperanza, blah, 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 blah. And then she starts speaking in Spanish. I was like, yo, I thought this lady was white. And then the white manager, she goes, well, I'm Spanish. I'm Mexican too. And then she starts speaking in Spanish. And they start yelling at each other in Spanish. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And then I step in and I'm like, I am also Spanish. I'm also Mexican. I speak Spanish as well. And so they started yelling at each other in fucking Spanish because they're both Mexican apparently, had no fucking idea. And the lady eventually gets kicked out. But as she's going out, she goes, all of you people are crazy. And I started feeling bad because I was like, maybe she's being really protective of her child. And I look into the stroller, it's 3 chihuahuas in there, dude. It's not even a fucking baby, dude.
It was one of those
weirdest interactions I've ever seen. That was the first time I was ever called you people. I was like, damn, dude, this bitch literally called me you people. I've never felt, I said, this is what black people go through? Like, goddamn. Isn't that shit crazy?
No, but the thing is, it's like, you know,
I'm not even Chinese. Fucking dare you. It's the wrong gook.
You're a chink and you people.
Yeah.
And it's like,
she called me a gook. I'd be a little, I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's like, all right, that's a little bit more acceptable, I guess.
You're accurate.
No, but the thing is, it's like, I think the situation with the pandemic is really putting people on edge. And it's like kind of taking the problems that already existed in America and really exaggerating it, you know? And it doesn't help when, you know, the leaders of the country are saying some things that can come across racist.
Oh, for sure.
And it's emboldening people who have those thoughts already. Before, it was like, yeah, those are private thoughts. Now it's like, not only are they public thoughts, it's public speech, you know, and I'm going to make it known that you fucking chinks with your China virus.
And it's acceptable.
Your fault, right?
Yeah.
It's really crazy to see. So it's like, I don't get it, man. It's like, look, man, it's a problem that the world is going through, not just America. You know, so it should be a time where everybody's trying to support each other. And if anything, try to band together. But like the exact opposite is happening. It's really sad to see that. That's kind of what America has always been, you know? It's not, it just happened. That's what America has been.
It's a lot of like, for my personal experience anyways, and I do want to mention that this is like 3 incidences of like 99 or 100 other white people being really nice to me, right? So it's just like the bad stuff always sticks out. But Kay and I were also walking one time and we were going on a normal walk, and this lady, this old white lady, and it's always the fucking old white people because they're from a generation where that shit was acceptable. And so this lady has a rake, and in my mind it's pretty funny. I mean, I guess it's pretty bad, but it's kind of hilarious to me because she's old. What am I gonna do? Slap the fucking gum, like dentures out of her fucking mouth? So this cunt bag, she comes out. She has this dusty ass cunt bag. She has a rake, right, and she's raking up her fucking leaves. And she goes, "You guys don't have a mask. You need to stay away from me." And she starts doing this with the rake. Shit. And I'm like, oh, she might just. It must be because I don't have a mask on. I get it. You know, she's being a little cautious. I'm like, all right, cool. So we keep walking. And then, you know, Khalif is right behind me with Ray. And then Khalif's like, you see that shit? I was like, it's probably because we didn't have the mask. I get that. But, you know, they had masks on. But they said, she kind of said it to them too. And I'm like, interesting. Cool. This couple walks by super close to her, way closer than we were. We were like 12 feet away from her. And no mask, nothing. And she goes, good morning. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I was pissed. Like, this fucking dusty ass, motherfucking racist asshole.
You know, the thing is, I didn't have any experience like that in terms of just kind of like blatant racism. But I did have moments of like being at the store, like at the market. And then, you know, just non-Asian people, as soon as they see me, just kind of like backing, like literally having that kind of jerk back, you know? I'm like, all right, that's strange, you know, and like,
I just want to shit in somebody's mouth so bad. I just want to shit on their tonsils, you sons of bitches.
And then like, you know, the first time it happened, I was just kind of like, that's a little weird. And then, you know, in the same like shopping session, it happened about 2 more times, and I'm like, okay, there's some definitely there. It's probably because of them kind of having, you know, these ideas of certain ideas. Maybe I don't know if I'm gonna go as far as saying racist, but it could just be ignorance too, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm this close to just passing out in the middle of a supermarket just to scare people.
Or just start coughing, man.
Oh no! Fall over. I'm like, okay, well, if it's gonna be like that.
No, I'm Chinese.
I know. Oh no, I got the China virus, and then fall over and start crawling on my forearms towards them like a fucking zombie.
They're just coughing everywhere.
You know what's interesting? You know, because of the whole COVID situation, you heard about like the Ahmaud Arbery thing, right?
No.
So Ahmaud Arbery, the kid who got killed out in Georgia.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that happened around the same time that the whole COVID situation was happening.
Yeah.
And so his story got completely fucking buried.
Yeah.
And it started resurging now because of footage and a lot of people being outspoken about it.
Right.
And that whole situation blew my fucking mind because I didn't hear about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And usually when it comes to, you know, racial shit happening, specifically with the media, and you have phone footage, that stuff gets blown up like crazy.
Right.
And it took from February all the way till what's now, May?
Mm-hmm.
February till May for people to finally realize, like, for it to finally come to surface. And prior to that, if it wasn't for the actual footage being taken, like recorded, I feel like it would have just been slid right under the fucking table.
Right.
Like that whole story blows my fucking mind because did you see the actual video footage?
I did. I saw the footage of like the truck chasing him, and you hear the fucking clip load.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, this guy was just fucking going for a jog, man. Yeah. And like
in athletic gear, he looked like he was out for a jog.
And the guy whose footage came to light, you know, it came to light because he thought that it was gonna help his friends.
So stupid.
You know that, right?
I had no fucking idea. So he thought like, well, Cletus, let me show y'all a little something about a little black boy running around, and we got him.
And also he thought it would help his case because his lawyer was basically saying that
he was in the car behind him.
Yeah, he wasn't doing anything. But you clearly hear the
gun cock.
Yeah. And it's like, well, what were you doing getting your gun ready then? Right? You guys were clearly chasing this dude, right? And basically trying to do something. I don't know if they were trying to kill him. At the very least, try to scare him, maybe. Yeah. But it just escalated like that because the dude probably got frightened too. Like,
of course, 100%.
Oh, shit, I got like 4 white dudes with guns chasing me. I got to defend myself.
That shit was so hard to watch because when you look at that footage, and I say this not to exaggerate, if I'm pretty sure, obviously everybody has seen this, and the reason why I haven't really talked about it is because I wanted to see some bullshit come out about this stuff, because every time I see this in the media, and everybody has their own opinions about this, but when somebody gets murdered, specifically a person of color, what I see a lot too is other people looking up dirt on this kid to see,
I know, man.
What are they doing? What the fuck are you trying to prove? They're like, okay, well, did you know that he used to fucking smoke weed? Who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
White people smoke weed all the time too. What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean he's automatically a criminal?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really rudimentary, like a very rudimentary argument to say, but if you don't know what that feels like, it's hard to explain how terrible that situation is, right?
Right.
So like if you look at that footage, and if you haven't seen that footage yet, you probably live under a rock, and if you do, take the time to look at it, because I want you to see a video of a kid being hunted down like he was a wild boar.
Right.
Like I've seen videos of like people in Hawaii hunt boar, like in that's what that shit looked like.
Right.
It looks like they were hunting wild game.
Right.
And it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Number one, just if you guys look up, I've been reading up a lot about this. You can hear the dispatcher call, right? The dispatch, dispatcher. I don't know if that's the right term, but the dispatch, right? And I'm paraphrasing this, but basically he goes, "I see there's a black man running in the neighborhood," and they go, "Okay, what is he doing?" He goes, "He's running." Is he breaking any laws? Is he doing anything?
He's like, no, I think he robbed the house.
He doesn't really say anything. He just gets really silent because he's not doing anything. He goes, well, there's been break-ins around the neighborhood. And they're like, okay, but what is he doing? Did you see him do anything?
Yeah.
And he just gets radio silent.
Right.
Because he doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
And then he decides to take the law into his own hands, which for some fucking reason, that's like a white person thing. you know, to put it in perspective, in Sacramento, there was a situation too with another young man who was murdered. And there was a kid in Sacramento. My best friend told me this in Sacramento. He said something very profound, and I might be slaughtering this, but he said what he said was, you know, for the white people that are listening to this is like in Sacramento City, the capital.
Yeah.
And he said what it feels like if you're not a person of color, for white people, to be a colored person in this country, it feels like I am a guest in my own home.
Right.
And you guys are the house owner.
Right.
No matter what I do, I'm told that I have to be on my best behavior. Don't put your shoes here. Don't do this and that.
Yeah.
And then I have to be on my best behavior when this is my house too.
Right.
But I feel like I'm put out as a guest. And that's what it feels like to be a person of color in this country.
Right.
For example, it's like, how many times have you seen in Sacramento where somebody goes out and you see a bunch of kids, like black kids, they're playing music. It's just their music. And somebody rolls up to them in a car and says, put that music down.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
This is their country too.
Yeah.
It's just music.
Yeah.
But because you see these group of black people, you have to tell them how to behave within your society, because this is the proper way to do it, because this is how you see fit.
Right.
And a lot of people may disagree with this. And I'm not like trying to put on white guilt, but when people talk about white privilege, the counterpart to what people say about that, they try to bring in statistics, right? They go, well, statistically, this and that. People, you know, Black Americans, Asian Americans, they have this amount of opportunities for jobs, this and that. But we're talking about when it comes to white privilege, or when I feel like that, right? It's that idea that the kid's talking about. It's like feeling like I'm a guest in somebody else's house. Like if I don't behave accordingly, that I'm not following the rules that kind of categorizes me as the right American, right? And the person who set those rules are white people,
right? And
so we always feel this way, right? It's that underlying tone that people don't know that they have. It's almost like I am the enforcer, and it's my job as a person who is not of color to let you know that this is how you should behave in this country.
Right. No, I mean, you look at kind of history too, and even kind of the Asian population, Japanese Americans, right? I mean, they were called the model minorities, but the honorary whites. You know, you're not just a responsible citizen.
You're like us now.
Yeah,
you're responsible because responsibility, being an upright citizen, is something that's an attribute of us. Right. And now you're more like us.
Right. And so it's the whole irony of it, of the whole damn thing, man, is that we're all visitors here in America. It's a land of immigrants.
Yeah.
We stole this land from Native Americans.
Not we, white people did. All right?
Okay, we did it.
We built the railroads here. That's what we did, you motherfuckers.
We laid the infrastructure.
Yeah, man. We fucking do your taxes.
No, I mean, that's the irony of it all, man, is that it's a land of immigrants. But at some point in history, you know, it just became, this is our fucking land, and you guys are all visiting here, you know? And it's crazy to me, man. It's really crazy to me that in 2020, I can't throw out a percentage of like what percentage of the country of people actually are like this, but if I had to guess, I would say at least like 20 to 30%. Yeah. You know, because outside of places like California, you know, New York, right, Texas. Some parts of Texas. You have rural America, you know, and in rural America, again, I don't know if I could go as far as saying these people are outright racist, but at the least ignorance plays a part in kind of the worldview, you know?
Did you see a photo of those motherfuckers too? They look like they fuck each other's cousins all the time, dude. The dad apparently was a former police officer.
Really?
Yeah, so the dad was a former police officer, and the reason why this thing kept on getting pushed further and further was because I don't want to use the improper term, but basically the people who were supposed to be involved in the case or who were supposed to persecute him or whatever, whether they be a judge or something else, they had a personal interest with him because they've either worked with him or something else, so they kept on recusing themselves from the case over and over and over, and they wouldn't make the arrest.
So that's why they were.
So he thought he was fucking Judge Dredd, this fucking hillbilly. You know, he thought he was Judge Dredd. I am the law. So he literally thought he was fucking Sylvester Stallone, Judge Dredd, the pot-bellied hillbilly, and he took matters into his own hand. I actually read a comment from somebody too, which it didn't infuriate me. Now, I think when I was younger, if I read a comment like that, I would get really upset.
Yeah.
But it kind of just goes to show how when we see these specific cases, instead of looking at the tragedy and looking at how terrible the situation that somebody lost their lives, we try to justify that person's death by finding bad things about them. Right.
You disparage their character.
Exactly. And so what somebody wrote on my comment, and I blocked this person too, just because of how insensitive and stupid this person is. And they write, it was like, he should have been smarter. He shouldn't have went to grab the gun. He would have still been alive. And I'm like, you don't know what it's like to be in that situation.
Right.
The guy's being hunted.
Right.
Like, I would freak out. I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
I might have ran. I might have grabbed for the gun.
Yeah.
But how do you know what it feels like to be hunted down just for jogging?
It's a fight or flight situation at that point, right? I mean, you're going to react in a way that you usually don't react when you feel like your life is being threatened.
Because we talk a lot. Listen, I talk a lot of shit too, man. Like if you put me in a scenario, like if Edric right now asked me, he goes, yo, somebody comes up to you and slaps you in the face, what are you going to do? Most likely I'd say I fucked them up. But I'm not accounting if this man is like a 6'8" fucking Armenian bodybuilder. In that case, bro, be my guest, bro.
Or if he pulls out a gun right after he does it.
Exactly.
Right?
I don't know. Then I just got slapped. End of story. That's what it is. That's the whole story.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, what happened? What would you do? I would be like, what the fuck? He would slap me and I'd be like, all right. And I would move on. We don't know what we're like until these situations.
Yeah.
Like case in point.
Yeah.
One time I saw, I was at this Jamba Juice in South Pasadena, and I literally saw somebody get mugged right in front of the Jamba Juice. And in my mind, I walked up and I was like, hey, stop. And I stopped this person, right? In real life, I had my mouth open and I watched the guy get robbed and I watched the guy run away. I thought I stopped. In my mind, I assumed that I stopped him. But what happened? He just got robbed. And he looked at me, he goes, what happened? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, because sometimes it's such a, I guess it's so far from reality of like everyday things that you see that it might kind of stun you too, and almost paralyze you because you're trying to really internalize what it is that you just saw. You're just trying to digest what you saw.
I think it's called like normalcy bias or something. It's like something like that where it's when these situations happen that are out of the norm, your brain tries to process it in the normal stuff that you typically see. Like you don't see that happen often in front of you.
Right.
So you can't really process it. So what happens is you sit there with your fucking mouth open waiting for flies to come in. And that's what happened to me. I saw that dude get mugged and I didn't know what was going on or what was happening. So, we even hear about that in certain like psychological findings where the bystander effect, where somebody was getting murdered in the alleyway and everybody expected somebody else to call the police so nobody did anything.
Right.
So there's a lot of these random assumptions and you don't really know to say that Ahmaud shouldn't have jumped for the gun. It's like you don't know what it's like to be in that situation. I think the point of the story is, and when you look at this, and you could go ahead and be an inquisitive person and try to find the facts of what actually happened. But to sit there and try to find facts and disparage this character of this human being who just lost his life, when you look at the footage, he was literally just jogging. And let's just say he was on, and they later on CNN, I was reading an article, the neighbor released the footage of people who came to that house. I guess Ahmaud once looked into they walked in towards the house, whatever. He didn't walk in the house, but was looking at the construction site. But so were children. So were other people. There was like 11 or 12 people. And that was it. So there was no reason for anybody to think that he was the one that was out there like breaking into a house. He wasn't, right? Then what about the other 11 people or the children? Maybe he should have shot that fucking little kid, that little 5-year-old that came into the house, right? Murder that child too then. I don't know. But they try to find stuff to kind of justify their hate. And that's the problem that I have. It's a huge issue that I have with it.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, it's like, if it's not already bad enough that a human being has lost their life, like you said, they trying to find reasons and throwing against the wall to see what sticks. Of like, it was justified though. This guy deserved to die, right? For these reasons. And usually those reasons are just, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
How come y'all can't just mind your fucking business too? Why is it so hard to mind your business? Let me tell you something. Mind your business is one of the best things you could ever do in your life. It makes life so much easier. Like I said, I saw somebody get robbed at Jamba Juice and I said, mind your business, David. I was like, get your smoothie and just walk away. Mind your business, David. And look at that. I didn't get my shit checked.
No, I mean, I just don't understand like where this deep rooted hate for a group of people stems from. Like that, I just don't get that, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird. I really wish I wanted to talk to people about this too, especially people in other countries, right? Because there's like people who immigrated from Africa to other countries too. I wonder if they have that same level of disdain towards, for us African Americans as they do in their countries, right? Whatever, Afro-Europeans or whatever.
Right.
I wonder, because the African American situation is way different, right? Because from us, we started from slavery.
Yeah.
Right. They were literally considered less than human beings.
Yeah.
And then through the Civil War, they gained their rights.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's this whole, and there's this whole other talk too about like systematic oppression, how no matter how many times like somebody of like African American descent tries to come up, there's always something set in place to push them down, and they just have to work that much harder to be in a place of success.
Yeah.
Right. So our country is rooted in a lot of evil shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And it's just, healing from that and moving past that. I think it takes a lot more than we think it does. Right. It's easy just to say as an individual, like, okay, well, I'm not racist, which is fine, right? I think that we should only, to a certain extent, be held accountable for the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
But to deny that that this country feels a certain way about people of color is also not doing anybody anything good either.
Right.
So,
right.
It's hard because I don't like white guilt. I think white guilt's a little odd. I understand it. I think it's great to understand what happens and the privilege that you get from being a white American, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I think I get really weirded out sometimes when they really want to let you know how guilty they are. Like, hey man, dude, I bought a bottle of kimchi today, and whoa, I eat that shit every day. Probiotics. Oh my God. That's my life.
Yeah. I love Korean barbecue, by the way.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, no,
who doesn't like meat and vegetables?
Right, exactly. I always find it a little annoying when I get told that. It's like, oh, you're Korean? I love Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you find the need to express that to me?
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Oh, you're white. I love Stouffer's stovetop stuffing. It's fucking amazing. It's the best thing I've ever had in my life. Yeah. I hydrate it with water and I bake it inside a turkey butt. It's great.
It's the best.
It's fucking delicious.
No, but yeah, it's I don't know, man. I just don't know like why that kind of hate has endured so long, right? For these group of people. But it just kind of goes to like the argument of gun violence too, right? It is like, should we have more guns in this country or should we have less guns in this country? And that's really a big issue. And also, let me say, where is the NRA when about this issue, right? When a black man is murdered, where's the NRA about,
Maybe they did say something. I didn't even really look into that. It's funny you mentioned that whole gun issue thing where I was talking about with a friend of mine. You know her. But she, I was talking about how I want a gun again, right? So the last time I had a gun, it was an illegal gun. And I got it from one of the homies. Yeah. But I never owned a legal firearm, which I'm an adult now. I'm not going to get a fucking illegal firearm. Yeah. And she was like, I can't believe you're going to get a gun. And I'm like, why can't you believe that shit? And she goes, well, what do you could seriously take the life of somebody? I was like, if they enter my home and they're trying to fucking kill me, I kill them. I kill them like I'm a North Korean dictator. I would fucking blast them on sight. Yeah. Of course I would. And she goes, I can't believe you would do that. She goes, you don't need a gun. And I was like, and kind of what I said to her was like, that's so interesting. I was like, but you have to realize how you grew up and how I grew up too. Like you always grew up in a very, very, like you're a rich person. Yeah. You had money growing up. You never lived in a neighborhood where these things don't happen. Even now though, the neighborhood I live in is a little nicer. It's still like on the border of ghetto and not, right? And there was a robbery that happened right around the fucking corner. Yeah. Somebody got shot up. Like Highland Park is right around the corner. Right. Somebody got shot up recently over there. Yeah. Like these things do happen. We can't deny that break-ins don't happen. Other people do have guns. I'm not saying I'm going to walk around and shoot people with it. Right. But I do enjoy the fact that I do feel more protected if I do have a firearm on me. But in her world, because she doesn't live in that, she never has. The concept that somebody can rob you and like take your shit, it's though she understands it, she doesn't understand it to like a molecular level. It's not in her,
because it's not. It was never a real situation for her. It's just a hypothetical.
She's never had. Like I don't even people understand. Like, you have any idea how frightening it is to have a gun pointed at you? It's like the most scariest fucking feeling on earth. I've had a gun pointed at me twice in my life, and the last time I did, I almost shit myself. Like, I literally, a little shit came out, dude. And this was when I was 18. That's the last time I had a gun pointed at me.
Yeah.
And that shit fucking scared me.
Yeah.
And through whatever grace of God, I didn't fucking die. Thank fucking God.
Yeah.
But that fear has always stuck with me. It's like, oh shit, I could have fucking died.
Right.
And I guess like the counter argument to that is like, well, because guns are legal, he had a gun at you. Motherfucker, that guy's gun wasn't legal.
No, exactly.
All right. The fucking Norteño's gun was not legal. All right. That shit was not legal whatsoever. You know?
No, for sure. I mean, like if that situation has never been real to somebody, it's hard to wrap their head around that, you know, of why you would need a gun. Why would you possibly need a gun, right? Because I live in a nice gated neighborhood, and I don't ever see a reason why a gun would be needed. I have security guards patrolling 24/7. Yeah, then if that's the case, you probably don't need one, you know. But people who have different upbringings, came from different backgrounds and different experiences, they might beg to differ. You know, they might feel a certain type of security with a firearm. You know
what the like the Ahmaud Arbery case too. Like I kind of wrote this on a post too, where I was kind of putting in a perspective of, you know, because of the whole COVID thing, we'd be seeing a lot of these videos of like people fucking up like a lot of older Asian people. Even some younger Asian people. It's really hard to watch, right?
Yeah, it is, dude.
Because we picture our parents in those situations.
Exactly, man. It's so infuriating when
and you don't
see
see these
like
videos
that,
of it happening to like strong, able-bodied adults, right? It's these older women, and that's the part that really pisses me off. It's like, you should pick on somebody. You should do that to a fucking Asian boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? You should do it to one of them, right? Or like one of these like hop sing or watching cats. Like, let's see you do it to that. Right. But you're not gonna fucking do it because you get fucking like clapped on sight. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing that I wanted other people to kind of take away from that too, and I think I also read a lot of comments too, where people they also, Asian people sometimes don't understand what other cultures go through, because, you know, we have our own shit that we're going through too.
Absolutely.
But for anybody who's been called like you people, or you've experienced these moments of racism that's been happening, you know, it sucks for us too. It's really bad. Yeah. But that's just kind of like a glimpse of what Black Americans go through. Right. Like it's just to put it in perspective. So I think it's a learning lesson too. And the only positive thing that I could think of that is like, now we have a group of people who never felt that empathy. If you're crying out for justice for your race and your culture, you doing it for another person's culture also speaks for yours too now. Right. So like for me, I'm like, hey, remember that time where you said that, you know, that young Black man, what the fuck was he doing? I was like, what was that Asian lady doing out there when she was just at that bus stop? Are you going to find some terrible or disparaging facts about that person to justify why she got kicked in the face? You're not going to do that. Right. And that's just to go and show you how different it is sometimes.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, the thing is, it's like, in a perfect world, we'll have justice, you know, and we'll have equal justice,
biblical justice,
fair
dude.
justice, biblical, people getting stoned to death,
straight up, dude, Jesus style, dude. God is grace and also pain.
I mean, but you know, the thing is, like, we don't live in a perfect world, and unfortunately, we don't have that. I guess that type of justice that we might want for some of these cases. And it's like, at the very least, you might, I mean, at least technology is there to kind of bring it to the forefront, make it a little bit more visible, put it in people's faces, have people at the very least talk about it too, you know, have a conversation, because that's where it starts from, right? You got to start having a conversation about these issues. Easier to not even think about it when you're not even aware that these issues exist. Right. But you bring it to the forefront, put it in people's faces, people sharing it on social media. And I guess that's one good thing in social media. I mean, for the most part, I really dislike social media, especially more so during the pandemic. Yeah. But it's also good for those type of cases, you know, to bring like social justice issues to the forefront and have people talk about it, especially young people in the country, in the world. Right. And, you know, honestly, like, we have these first world problems here in America. I mean, I'm not talking about like the deaths of minorities and categorizing that as a first world problem. No, I'm saying, you know, more trivial stuff, right? And then you look at some of the other countries in the world and the stuff that they're going through, and you're like, man, we're complaining about not being able to get a haircut right now.
I know.
It's like kids are fearing for their life.
Yo, man, Dave Chappelle said this shit the best, right? He says, like, people have some of the most brittle spirits in this country, right? They're so fucking brittle, man. And I'm not saying that Dave Chappelle's also talking about me. Sometimes I'm brittle as fuck too.
Right.
You know, I trust me, I'm with everybody when sometimes I get irritated where when this whole shit started happening, and then I started reading posts about like, yo, if you was talking about the reason why you couldn't go out there and do this is because you didn't have time and you're not honing your craft during quarantine, then you never wanted it in the first place. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up, bitch. How about that? I ain't gotta do shit. I'm jacking off watching all the porn I haven't been able to watch for ages, man.
It's like out his free time, man. 2 hands. I'm gonna fucking go.
Don't tell me how I'm supposed to spend my fucking quarantine. Like, I get it, and you know, it's weird sometimes when we complain about all these like small little things. Like, I have these moments now, like because of quarantine, where I sit and I'm very grateful for the things that I have. Like, I have a fucking car. Yeah. Even like something small like that. And it's to put it into perspective, once again, not to bring money up in this all the time, but you know, for people who grew up with a lot of shit, and I tend to get along with people who didn't grow up with a lot of shit, just because we kind of have a similar foundation. Yeah. It's hard to explain to people how to be grateful for things that you didn't have growing up. Yeah. It's a different fucking feeling.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, that's why for me, it's easier for me to, like, during this time to really appreciate what I have. I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Like, what makes me feel fulfilled and happy is like filling up my car, having a full tank of gas. No, having groceries in my fridge. Yeah. That genuinely makes me feel like fulfilled and happy. Yeah, and it's because growing up, I wasn't able to just get whatever I wanted. I can't just, I want some fucking Lunchables. Let me throw that in the cart, Mom. Oh, I want some Pop-Tarts. Let me throw. No, it's like, all right, you could pick one, out of 100.
Dude, a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah. They don't get that type of struggle. Right? Yeah. And for us, it was a everyday occurrence, so it doesn't seem like a much of a struggle to us as a kid, because our parents never had to make us feel that we were less because we didn't have much. Right. And I think that's the great thing that a lot of like good parents do. That no matter how poor you are, you make sure that your kids never feel poor. Yeah. Right. They let you know that you're poor, but they make sure that you know that you should be grateful for everything that you have.
Love, guys.
Yeah. Right? Because I remember when we went to the grocery store, it's like, I want this and that. It's like, you get one, maybe. Yeah, depending on how you behave.
Right? How were your grades last, quarter, or,
Exactly.
It's like, did you get all A's?
A part of it was because we were assholes. The other part was because they couldn't afford it, and they were making excuses. They were making fucking excuses. Yeah. So when I have a car, like even today, I was sitting, like before you came here, I was sitting in the trunk, and I was like, this is nice. Yeah. Like, I get to sit in the fucking trunk of my car and chill. Right. This feels fucking good. Yeah. And that food thing, right? So people don't understand the luxury of even having the option of choosing different types of food a day. When I was a kid, man, every Sunday my mom made a big pot of something. And that's what I had for 5 or 6 days. And then I had to do something with that leftover and make something new out of it. Right. So if my mom made kimchi jjigae, kimchi jjigae 6 nights in a row, baby.
I guess I'm gonna try some kimchi jjigae sandwich.
I had kimchi jjigae. I threw ramen in there, right? And then with the kimchi jjigae, I made pop, and then sometimes I made like fried rice with it, and I just had hella different iterations of it. Yeah. But that was like the main dish, and then we did what we could with it. Yeah. Right.
And that's the thing. It's like you said, man, people don't get it if they haven't been in that situation. Where that stems from, and it's like, look, I'm not saying you have to adopt my mindset or try to be like me, but understand where it's coming from. Like this is the way I grew up. Yeah. And it's shaped me as a person and as an adult, It's not to knock other people of like, but I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes I'm like, the shit that people are complaining about, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah,
like,
I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have clothes on your back? Do you got food in your fridge?
You have a job?
And be fucking thankful. Exactly. To be fucking thankful, man. Because right now, I think 15% of America are unemployed right now.
Yeah, it's it's
gonna go up to 20%. I don't know. And like a lot of people don't have fucking jobs right now. And you know what? I don't have anybody in my inner circle where anybody got the virus, but I do know people in my inner circle where the pandemic has affected them in terms of losing their jobs, things like that, right?
Yeah, a buddy of mine, AJ Raphael, his cousin and his uncle both passed away from COVID.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so it was father and daughter passed away from COVID.
That's crazy.
You know, with the whole COVID situation too, there's there's a lot of data coming out about how, I guess it's not as crazy as they thought it would be, right? Because they said that half of California will be affected with COVID and all this other stuff. So these stats aren't true anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand that we're trying to find a great balance and a medium to make this thing work. Do I agree with Governor Newsom that we should be quarantined till August? Absolutely not, because people are there's people who have passed away. Obviously the percentage is really fucking small, but also too, there's also people suffering from losing their jobs, not be able to make ends meet, not being able to pay rent. Yeah. So you can't go an extreme here and expect people to be happy. Yeah. There has to be something like, when they talk about opening up in phases, they didn't do a good job, or he didn't do a good job by saying, hey, by the way, 3 months, you're fucked. Yeah. He should have done it in phases, saying like, hey, instead of saying that, he goes, hey, we're actually going into phase 1 this week, and then this month, and then the next month we'll be going into phase 2 or something like that. Rather than just telling people, hey, 3 months you're fucked. Yeah. It was a very, very poor plan to tell people in LA that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's such a complicated thing because, first of all, we weren't ready for it. Yeah. People at the top didn't prepare for it as well as they could have, especially considering that we had about 2 months seeing what was going on in other parts of the world to start preparing for it. And so from that standpoint, I can understand like these people are trying their best in a sense to figure out,
because they don't know what they're doing.
Right, exactly.
None of us know.
Nobody knows what the fuck. Like, this is brand new territory. And it's like, it's such a complicated issue because on one end, like you said, people are dying, people are getting sick. On the other end, people are losing their jobs, and they're willing to even risk getting sick and risk dying to stay working, right? Because they got to provide for themselves and or their families, right? Yeah. They got to eat, they got to pay rent, all of that. And then so like, considering the fact that the average American in this country is in debt, what, $10,000? I think that's the average statistic, right?
Tight.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine being behind 3 months, and so, all right. First of all, you don't even have savings, right? Yeah. And you're in debt on top of that, right? So even with this stimulus stuff going on, you get a $1,200 check. What the fuck is that going to buy you? Yeah. It's going to pay for what, your rent? Yeah. And what's it going to do for you? Right. Yeah. And I'm speaking for the people who really literally live paycheck to paycheck. And so
there's a lot of people like that. By the way.
No, I think a majority. Most of America's like that. Most of America's like that. Over 50%, I would assume, is like that. And so, we started this conversation on a race issue and how I was saying that this pandemic kind of exaggerated that, put it under a magnifying glass. But all the kind of the woes of America have been put under a magnifying glass because of this pandemic, right? And so like all the debt that this country has, the average citizen has in this country, minimum wage not being enough to maintain basic quality of life, right? Now, it's like 3 months without a paycheck. What the fuck are they going to do, right? Yeah. Not only the fact that if they come back 3 months behind, they're in a deeper hole than they were before, but the company or the person that they were working for, if their business even survived in that 3 months, because that business could easily close down without having revenue for 3 months and just having money going out, right?
Here's the interesting thing too, where people kind of, people are making comparisons to how the United States handled this. Yeah. And, they're making other comparisons to like Sweden, to Korea, Japan, and all that other stuff. Yeah. Just from what I've read though, if we want results like Korea, we're with the loose and very lax way that America has been with the whole COVID pandemic thing. Yeah. And even with how relaxed they are with most people, with what most people,
you're right there, you having a seizure.
With what most people think are just really strict rules here. Yeah, it's not even comparatively, you have any idea how lax our laws are compared to how it is like in Korea?
Yeah.
So somebody was making a comparison that I was having a conversation with. He goes, well, look at Korea. They did it in like 2 months. I was like, do you know how they did it though? You guys are complaining right now in the States when we're not allowed to go to beaches and parks. Like legit, if you even have COVID, by the way, if you have like basically a tracer in your phone, you're supposed to pick up the phone like 2 to 3 times a day. If you don't pick up the phone 2 to 3 times a day, a government agent goes to your house, right? So you have a legit tracer on you.
Right.
They do multiple tests on you. They check to see if you're okay. They see where you're at and they make sure that you're quarantined inside your house, period, end of story. You want to go outside to get some cigarettes, whatever, even if you're asymptomatic, you're not going fucking anywhere. Right. That's the stuff that they did to make sure that they had the whole COVID situation in check. Yeah. Now, if you're willing to do that too, as an American, you're willing to do that for about 2 months, which by the way, people were freaking out at the month mark. Yeah. And even when the government said you're not supposed to do this and that, we did it anyways. And what happened? Yeah. We didn't get a tracer on our phone. We didn't have like a fucking ankle lock or anything else like that. And those are the things that you have to forego in order to get it in check like that. Yeah. But with the brittle American spirit, even when we have this simple lockdown, right? In the first 2-3 weeks, a month, they lost their fucking minds. I guarantee you guys talk really big, but if the government said, hey, we need to have access to your phone and we need to have a tracer on it to make sure that you don't go anywhere, and the government's going to call you 2 to 3 times a day to make sure that you stay in your house, you're not going to be like, okay. So let's be realistic here, right?
Which is so ironic because it's like, man, all these fucking people on TikTok, do you guys know what type of information you're giving away? Look into that.
Oh, when I saw that? Oh, yeah. I vaguely looked into that, but I heard it's a lot.
It's, all right, first of all.
I deleted my TikTok immediately.
Yeah, it's a Chinese-owned app. And they're basically collecting the original virus. Yeah, they're collecting every bit of information on you. People don't know that though, because you guys are motherfucking, Insta famous hungry, and TikTok famous hungry. Man, the amount of information that people willingly give away without even fucking knowing with the apps that they have, right? But then as soon as they feel like, oh, this is infringing on my rights, right?
The whole
up
Facebook
in arms,
thing.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just the nature of America, man. It's like first world problems. You know,
TikTok's a very interesting app. And what I learned specifically from my buddy David, he has an app that he's putting out called Taco App that's supposed to his David Choi. So David Choi's main thing about Taco App is that he wants to allow creators to take part in the money making aspect.
Oh, okay. I think I saw a Facebook post about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So David really, for him starting off as a creator, he started to realize like, these companies are making a shit ton of money. Yeah. Specifically companies like YouTube, and they do like Google AdSense where you get this minimum amount of share. And there's even companies like TikTok, which I do believe that platform is made for people to expand their business. If you're getting something out of it, that's cool, depending on like the information that you're giving out, which I don't really know too much about it. Yeah. But TikTok, they were like, I forgot how many billions of dollars they made in their first like fiscal year. Yeah. And then creators made zero. Yeah. I mean, zero fucking dollars, billions of dollars. And then you made $0 of it just because you wanted to be known for the guy who did really fast burger recipes on TikTok.
And I don't even know how TikTok kind of shot up to the level it's at right now, because I remember when the app first came out, I was like, what the fuck is this thing supposed to be? I don't understand what the purpose of this thing is.
It was like I think it popped off because of dancers. Wow. Okay. It was made for, it's TikTok. The reason why TikTok does so well is because it's a creator platform that doesn't rely on you being an actual creator. So they have stuff in there to allow you to create viral content without you having to know how to do Photoshop or like Adobe Premiere or anything like that. All that stuff is already integrated and built out in there, and they already have popular trending stuff for you to follow. So they encourage that shit. So for you to pop off on TikTok is way easier. Yeah. The only difference is with the TikTok app is that you can't, even let's say one video pops off, it's not guaranteed that your next video will get similar views because they just see that one video and then move on. They're not going to really follow you or wait for you to put another video. Except for a few people who are already Insta famous,
Yeah, I mean the thing is, at the end of the day, whatever you want to call TikTok, it's a data miner. It's a data miner masked as a social platform, right?
They get everything, huh?
Everything, man. And the thing is, data is king, man. Data is power, right? And so The Chinese government is collecting all of this shit on American citizens, right? And what they can do with that data is very powerful because they're able to track your interests, they're able to track your movement, so they're able to predict behavior. Why do you think Amazon is at the level that they are now? Because they collected data.
These motherfuckers have taken so much money from me in the last fucking 3 months. You have no idea, man. Dog. Yo, just speaking of that shit, you have any idea how many times I bookmark shit on Instagram with those ads? They know everything I like. It's listening. They're listening, dude. They're
fucking listening,
dog,
man.
I said waist trainer once. Yeah. Right? I had 6 waist trainer ads pop up.
Exactly, bro.
What the fuck do I need a waist trainer for, you sons of bitches?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying is that you are willingly giving away this information. You're allowing the permissions, those permissions that you don't read, right? It's more of a case on iOS because on Android, you at least see the list of permissions you have to allow. On iOS, the App Store, you already agree to it.
I almost bought a Serbian knife yesterday.
What the fuck is a Serbian knife?
A Serbian chef knife. It's like a cleaver. It's like a cleaver and a knife. And then it was on sale for $79. And I was like, bro, I could use a Serbian knife.
Dude.
And then Mariel was like, you have 8 knives. What the fuck do you need a Serbian knife for? I was like, oh, you're right. And I was like, yo, Instagram almost got my ass. I almost bought a Serbian knife. And I almost bought a portable fireplace, which I have no place to put. And then I actually bought 3 boots, which it was actually a good investment. I've been looking for some good boots, but it's this company that I bought it from an Instagram ad because I've mentioned before verbally. They're listening for sure.
No, dude, I've had many cases where I've said something verbally, not searched in it through my phone
at all, and it pops up in your Instagram ad, dude.
Yeah, it does.
$1 million, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million,
$1 million in my Venmo account.
Winning lotto. Please.
No, but it's crazy, man. Like I watched a documentary recently. It's called the Rise and Reign of Jeff Bezos. Right? It's a documentary on Instagram by PBS. Anybody interested in that type of subject matter, you guys should check it out. But yeah, it's something that I've known about data collecting for a long time, of how powerful data is. I just didn't realize to the extent that like Amazon, how much data they collected on customers. And one of their executives were saying like, once Amazon started to really take shape, like once it started moving beyond books, how surprised he was at how predictable consumers are, based on the data that they were collecting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
and so,
I'm one of those motherfuckers.
Yeah. And so like, that's why they're able to sell you on this shit, man, because they already know what your interests are. Like that's the point we're at now, where we've just become predictable to an algorithm. And the algorithm just keeps on getting fed information. Alexa, right? It's a listening device. It's not a fucking personal assistant. This thing is listening to you, right? And like, that's why Amazon executives are talking about, I turn Alexa off when I need to have important conversations or conversations that I want to keep private.
I stopped using my Alexa, but I use a Google Home though.
Same shit though.
Okay, my bad.
Google, hey, Google was the original data miner, right? Yeah. They're the original data collectors. Oops. That's how they're able to predict your searches.
Oh yeah, but Google Home helps me wake up in the morning.
For sure. I mean,
I love this shit. The thing I use for the Google Home all the time is Google, hey Google, play the sound of a beautiful rainforest. That's what I do every night. Or play the sound of a rolling fire, and I do that to go to sleep.
No, but like, listen, don't get me wrong, man. A lot of these things, a lot of this technology does make life a lot more convenient for people, but the point I'm making is just know what you're signing up for, right? It's like, don't get so mad about when you have to share your data knowingly, when you're unknowingly doing it already. It's like on so many different apps and things that you use on a daily basis. The dumbest
fucking shit that I saw was on Facebook when people were like, I hereby declare Facebook is not allowed to use my private information, blah, blah, blah. Too late, bitch. It's too late. And first of all, who that
was like a hoax, right? AOL chainmail type shit,
Yeah. It's like I was like, first of all, you fucks. Number one, who do you think you are? You are not that important. I'm pretty sure Facebook has collected your data. They printed it out on pieces of papers and they burned it because that's how useless you are, dude. There are people too who are so fucking broke. they would go to the liquor store and they would hide their ATM number. I'm like, listen, I don't want the 12 Skittles in your bank account. You broke bitch. Don't. What ATM number are you hiding for, dog? Like, you don't. Do you have Harry Potter's fucking safe? Yeah. Like the code to his safe? You fucking bitch. You ain't got that type of money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, it's so dumb. But, when people were putting that shit up, I was like, dog, know who you are as a person. Yeah. Nothing you say is ever important. And the government, if they're listening to you, they probably already shot themselves in the face because how dumb you are.
But that's kind of like the age that we live in too, man. The information age. No, misinformation age, to be more accurate. Because, like, people just think, oh, it's written. It must be true, right? Because, look, man, we grew up in a time where if we saw something that was written, very, very high chance that it's true. Because most likely it's like an editorial piece, or it's in a magazine, or there would be opinion pieces too. But nowadays it's like anybody could create a site to look legitimate, right? And then people share these articles, people share these pieces, and it's like sometimes
I've been fooled so many times. You have no idea.
Yeah, people don't do like the most basic form of due diligence. Like the craziest shit to me is like when people share these articles and pass it off as fact. When you fucking click the article itself and go down, scroll to the bottom, it says we are what do you call that?
A parody.
Yeah, a parody site, right?
Yeah.
Parody news site.
Like The Onion or some shit.
Yeah, like something like The Onion, right? And I'm like, dude, it literally would have taken you 2-3 seconds to fact check this, right? To see that this is not true. But so much misinformation gets spread now.
It's because it's about being first.
That's the crazy shit. I don't give a fuck about being first. I give a fuck about being right, know?
No, look at YouTube, man. One of the top comments that's been going on for the past 12 years since YouTube has been around is first.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah,
people love being first than rather being right. And I get it to a certain extent. Certain people, like if we're making jokes about stuff, it's kind of like formed around satire and hypotheses, right? So you're making just hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Which is fun to play around with.
Right.
But when you put things out as facts, people get hyped up and they get caught up in things without knowing the situation.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I've fallen for, right? But now I'm getting a little smarter about it because, like, even talking about like the Ahmaud Arbery case, right? People are saying like, yo, you should do this stuff right now. And I'm like, hold on, I got to sit and think about this first.
Right.
Because it's not so easy for me to go ahead and bring it up on a podcast and just talk about it because, number one, I'm already emotionally invested and I'm already riled up.
Yeah.
So I have to really sit down and think about these thoughts, think about what happened.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not looking to vilify this kid first to find out facts. I could give a fuck less if this kid smoked weed.
Yeah.
I don't know, got into fucking fist fights in high school or whatever. That doesn't matter. This kid was just jogging. He got killed. Didn't matter about his personal past or whatnot.
Right.
At that very fucking moment, he was killed because he was a black kid running in a neighborhood. That's it. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear shit.
Right.
So I just made it a point not to just jump on it because I have fallen into that habit of just wanting to grab sensational topics and just talk about it first.
Emotional responses, right?
Yeah, I get caught up in that shit.
Yeah.
When I saw that video of that Asian lady getting kicked in the fucking face, I wanted to say some shit about that stuff.
For sure.
Right?
That infuriated me so much, man. I mean, both videos. Yeah, both videos, right? And it's just like, yeah, it's easy to kind of get caught up in it emotionally, for sure. Not to say that it's wrong to have an emotional response. You should have an emotional response to that type of thing. That's another fellow human being who's suffering, an injustice, right? But if you're gonna, like, somebody like you who actually has a platform where a lot of people follow you too,
be careful
right?
with that shit sometimes,
Exactly. You got to take the time to really digest it and figure out what it is that you want to say and how you want to approach it, right? So, it's that instant gratification kind of culture.
People got mad at me because I said I mentioned this on the last podcast. There was this guy Brian Ortega slapped Jay Park in the face. He was a UFC fighter.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I remember seeing about this. Yeah.
This podcast where I was like, I wonder what the fuck he said to him, right? And they're like, he didn't say, how could you do that? How could you say? I'm like, I'm saying hypothetical. I'm not saying he did. Yeah, I'm just saying that usually when somebody gets slapped, they probably said some shit.
You know what the whole thing was about, right? It was about Korean Zombie.
Yeah, it was like the translation or some shit. I don't know the
basically he was Jay Park being a fan of Korean Zombie, who like kind of became his unofficial translator.
What a weird,
right?
Weird segue.
Yeah, it's sad. I don't know how that happened, but so he was translating for the dude, and I guess Korean Zombie was kind of like talking shit, and then so Jay Park translated that, and Brian Ortega took offense to it. as if like Jay Park said it himself. It's like, yo, next time I see you, you know, it's like we're gonna have problems. Yeah, it's like why fucking shoot the messenger?
I forgot what the specificity was, but I heard like originally Chan Sung Jung wasn't really talking that much shit, and then he thought that Jay Park embellished it in English, which he didn't. I guess it was like pretty straightforward with the translation. Yeah, and then he slapped him or some shit. But I guess like he said that they kind of squashed it off or whatever, and then he did another translation where he was talking shit. But it's literally Jay Park just translating what he's saying.
I know, it's like, dude, come on, man. The dude he's not a fucking fighter. You're a trained fighter, right? Yeah. Your hands are considered lethal weapons, right? Like, what are you doing slapping a civilian? Like,
I'll tell you something though. Even if I was a lethal fighter, if you're talking shit, I'll still slap you. I don't care. I don't care. I'll slap you.
These weapons to work.
And then when your pregnant wife gives birth to your child, I'll slap that child out the womb. I don't give a fuck. Just
slap that shit back into the vagina.
That's right, dude. I'll take the fucking umbilical cord and start choking your little fucking fetus child right there, just to teach you a lesson. Your daddy talks a lot of shit. Learn from this. Fuck that, dude.
Kim Jong-il right
I know, dude. I'm ready, dude. I'm fucking ready.
Punish his whole fucking bloodline.
Hell yeah. Shit. Well, hey guys, that wraps up this episode of the Genius Brain podcast. We talked a little bit about Ahmaud Arbery, rest in peace. Hope his family finds peace with all that other stuff. Kind of sat on that for a little bit.
Yeah.
We went over other bullshit too. Everybody's listening to you, by the way. Amazon is listening right now. Whatever you say to Amazon, they're gonna fucking put that shit out, and you're gonna buy a Serbian knife like I'm about to do tonight. For sure.
If you guys are watching this, just look a little bit into like Amazon and TikTok, what type of data they're collecting on you. I'm not saying stop using it. I mean, I'm still an Amazon Prime member, but at least just be aware of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, edtwo, EDTWO.
That's right. Well, you guys, you can catch us all on Spotify and Stitcher and everything else. And Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, all that other stuff. And I will see you all next time. Peace, bitches.